Okay, Bethesda, I'm not saying I'm threatening you, but these gulpers forgot to give me my 1650 atoms when I got into my second month of Fallout First. Give me my atoms! G'day, this is Captainoob, and this is a Berserker's The Fixer with 25% faster fire rate and faster movement speed whilst aiming major and minor legendary effects respectively. So with a powerful auto receiver doing 80 damage, and that is completely unspec'd, completely unarmored, as you can tell. Winter is currently buck naked, but she's got some Berserker face paint on because they used to paint themselves, right? I think that's correct. I could wear a tattered dress for increased perception, but it feels more authentic being naked, and plus, who doesn't want to see the vanilla body? Anyways, so 80 damage is not too far off the pace. I think the fully spec'd one without any bloody effects, stacked onto it was 98 damage, something a little bit more than the handmade. So we're already doing pretty well there, but let's go ahead and make that a little bit better with some perks. It is during the night, so I've got Mr. Sandman on first, Covert Operative on second for sneak attack criticals at 3.75 times. So that's good. And you've also noticed how I've got ground pound and tank killer. Going to not be using too much VATS with this. I feel like VATS would slow this thing down a bit, and having the 20 bullets in the magazine is going to be, expended pretty quickly. So having that reload speed a lot faster and the hipfire accuracy tuned up a little bit might help me out significantly. And if we chuck on Bloody Mess after all of the commando perks, 146 damage, to compare what this weapon would be like without that. If I go ahead and chuck on all of my armor, which is in my stash, hang on. Okay, armor retrieved from stash. Let me just remind myself. So we've got 146. If we go ahead and equip that armor, and this thing goes down to 59, you see. So, yeah, that's got to go, unfortunately, which is a shame because all of these unyielding or chameleon benefits I've decided to bring out. The chameleon armor give me very good stat bonuses, and won't be seeing any of that. So we'll see how we go. I'm not really sure how well this will go. Alright, so here we are outside of the Nuka-Cola factory. Just that the Nuka-Cola is actually stuff that mutates you into a scary monster. And my buffs are as follows. That Milo Queen Steak giving me extra endurance is kinda useful because I'm very squishy right now. As you can tell, 0 armors. And it's raining right now too, so winter's probably cold. But who even cares? I don't have to feel the coldness. I'm sitting at my computer. And it is warm. So, yeah, as I suspected, going for a stealth commando approach with a Berserker's build is kind of interesting because you're not going to get shot if you do it right. And you can get yourself heaps and heaps of damage just by, shooting stuff. Not only with the Berserker's benefit, which I don't know, I can't really calculate it. It's like it's a pretty good benefit. It went up to like 162, so, it's pretty good. But yeah, with all of that, and with 223 with the adrenaline, it's not a terrible way to do damage. And if you're weighed down by armor all the time, well, if you want to go naked for any given reason, then there you go. There's benefits of that. But in terms of its strength in PvP, you're going to get absolutely destroyed because, having no resistance is going to allow you to just get shot and killed by basically anything. A lot of these PvP-focused builds rely on armor such as assassins or sentinels, and equipping that kind of stuff, it gives you damage resistance, which will drastically bring down the damage. So whether there's actually a place for Berserker's stuff, I don't really know about. Let's just go inside though. I think the only conceivable place where I could see myself using Berserker weapons is perhaps in a nuke zone where there's, nice headshot there, 1600 damage, not bad, where there's radiation around and you're using unarmed weapons and you need a hazmat suit because you can't use unarmed weapons in power armor. So I think that's kind of the only practical way you could possibly run those weapons. Where are you, mate? There you are. Also, you don't have to worry about your armor being broken here, so no matter how many hits I take, my armor isn't going to degrade at all. That was some fucking top aim right there. Let me just try that again. I've pretty much just woken up, so my brain's still warming up. So just forgive that, just forget that that existed, but let's keep on going. So far so good, haven't been shot at, but as you can tell, as soon as I got shot there, I lost a fairly significant part of my health. Thankfully for me, he spawned with a semi-automatic rifle, which he was only able to land one shot on, which is good. Using something... Also, yeah, adding on to that Berserker's thing, using something like a Berserker's minigun, where you can't get the benefits out of Stabilize, which is, you know, amazingly potent to keep the weapon going, so... Yeah, there's a lot of benefits from armor that you can't possibly... That's a pipe gun, don't need to worry about that too much. Yeah, there's a lot of benefits that you miss out on not being in armor. And that is a corner I will not peek, because that's a minigun, and... You seldom see miniguns in here, actually. They're kind of rare. I don't know what happened to spawn a dude with a minigun, but he's a 3-star. And now we're in danger, which means the dance moves must start, and I've got nothing to protect my limbs when when I'm running around here, but that's okay. We've got an Executioner's Spear with 40% faster swing speed and reduced weight. Not even that bad. So yeah, having that extra... I might just do a stim pack now. No, I'll keep on going. We've got Adrenal Reaction going up now, which I'll just peek the damage for a second. We are hitting for over 1,000 per hit now with the sneak criticals, which is useful. There we go. Getting the aim.exe in my brain up and running a little bit now. But the recoil on this is very unpredictable. I've been playing a little bit of Nuclear Winter, and they've toned down the recoil a lot for combat rifles in that. Their pinpoint hipfire accuracy is good. That's kind of why I wanted to go with Ground Pounder here. And weirdly, since this does use the same sort of texture sets as a combat rifle, I guess texture maps would be a better term for that, you'd think that you'd be able to chuck on that pumpkin paint that you got from unlocking Nuclear Winter stuff, but you can't, which is interesting. And it's also weird that they would give you these Halloween exclusive paints right at the end of Halloween. Oh, Jesus. Bad. Also, when you get Staggered 2, you come out of sneaking, which is not fun at all. Now, I do have Nerd Rage, I think, which does increase my damage resistance a little bit, so I won't be getting the full benefits out of that, and that is where you want the fire rate to be. That's nowhere near me, surely. No, it's not. He threw it at himself. Good job. Don't worry, I've done that in Nuclear Winter. It doesn't happen all the time, but I've done it a few times. Now, if Escape Artist could work now, that was a particularly bad time to recover my limbs because it puts the weapon away, and if it wasn't reloaded at that point, I'd have to reload it again, which happened a lot with my Junkie's explosive, what's it called, the black powder rifle the other day, which annoyed me considerably. But luckily, this being an automatic rifle and bolstered with Ground Pounder, well, it's a little bit easier to keep yourself nice and hidden, and for some reason stealth isn't working as much. I think it's just because the agility factor that I'd get from unyielding armor at being this low health is not there. There's the guy with the auto rifle, and still not done apparently. We'll have a quick jog around, see what we've missed. I'm not actually hiding, mate. I'm trying to find you, and I do believe I've got a good idea of where you are. Although I'm pretty sure I cleared out this place already. Okay, a board is going to get destroyed. So hazmat suits, that's what you want for an unarmed build. If you're in a nuke zone, wear a hazmat suit and chuck a Berserker's weapon on, and you should be doing a lot more damage. My god, the lighting is so weird. Makes it look like she's made out of plastic or just super wet. Okay. Foresight's telling me to chuck on something like Born Survivor so I don't get wrecked, and it recovers all of my limbs. Oh god, stay away from that explosion. I think we avoided it. That kind of aggroes the ghouls though, so that's a very useful explosion. That's why I tend to come in through this door. Alright, so this thing doing pretty well. I can't believe I got sneak attacks on all of those ghouls there. I think I aggroed the rad roaches though, and they are currently being mauled by ghouls, so that's bad for them, but not so bad for me. And there is the benefit of Ground Pounder. That reload took not as long as it should. And there we go, Escape Artist seems like it's doing its job now, which is great. Ghouls are somewhat perceptive. Like, we're under lights here, so I'm guessing they'd be just like under plain sunlight. But yeah, I tend to find them to be a little bit more perceptive than super mutants, which is kind of odd. I can hear them all shambling up here. Alright, I'm gonna jump down and see what kind of trouble I can get myself into. I can hear them all stomping around. They seem to just be running around in circles. You'd think they'd be able to smell me, right? Because all of the metal that I'd be wearing wouldn't be obscured. Wouldn't obscure the, I don't know, sweat, I guess. You're running around a little bit. Might be a little bit humid in Appalachia. I've got no idea what the climate is like, to be honest. I don't think I've missed any legendaries on this run because there just hasn't been any. And VATS is going to be comparatively a little bit not as good because I don't have concentrated fire, not spec to it, but that's okay. Don't really need it. This thing has passed the ghoul test without it failing, but again, stealth is kind of carrying it right now. If I didn't have those benefits, I would have been dead 2, 3, 5 times. Who even knows? Okay, there's one down there. I'm going to get nice and close to him just so I can mow him down in VATS, just to see what kind of DPS we get out of this when we're going full auto. Yep, as expected, very good for a stealth commando type weapon. I think another thing to note about Berserker's weapons is that, wow, okay, really? That was some interesting gun-fu action there. I could probably swap out gun-fu because I'm not using VATS. That I can replace, yeah, I can definitely replace, what's it called, Born Survivor with gun-fu, or the other way around, actually, but, you know, we got a couple of kills chained up nicely with that, so not too bad. There we go. Just get the queen out with the grenades. Been a very cruisy run so far. The biggest threat to me has basically been the super mutants and when they've spotted me in numbers, but I can sort of control what the combat is like out here, so you know, it's a lot easier. I might not be saying that when it comes to time to kill Scorch Beast, but we'll see. Okay, like I was going to say before, a thing to note about Berserker weapons, if you're going to use any damage increasing chems like Psycho, you're not going to see the full benefits of that because I believe they give you a little bit of resistance to go along with your extra damage for survivability and just general buffing rules. So, you know, if you want to chuck on a mutation like Healing Factor, that makes a lot of sense since you probably won't be wanting to use those chems anyway because it'll bring down your damage slightly. I mean, obviously it's going to be overshadowed by the 25% increase, but you're just not going to get as much. And if you want to run a low health Berserker build, and you don't want that extra endurance that you'd get out of, I don't know, something like Psycho buff or Psycho tats. See, these super mutants are a lot easier to kill when it's out wide open, despite them carrying around a lot more stronger and scarier weapons. Except for the super mutants with the sledgehammers, they're kind of easy to kill. But yeah. So healing factor, so you can just heal up between fights, because you could probably expect to take a lot of damage between the fights. So having that heal off when the combat is done is actually kind of beneficial. I'm guessing a lot of people use those sorts of perks because they just like to carry as many stim packs as they possibly can. So yeah, maybe if you don't want to be carrying around a lot of stim packs, don't have those traveling medic or traveling doctor perks. I can't even remember what the perks called, but you know what I'm talking about. Maybe you could chuck on healing factor. It'd make a little bit of sense when it comes to using Berserker weapons. Onto the Scorch Beasts. Okay, so the beast is flying right on top of us. We'll just mow him down like that. Okay, yep. Benefit of using ground pounder there. I was quite impressed with that. Fix is a great weapon. It's one of the best. It's like right up there with the handmade, but I reckon it's better. Just because of a little bit of extra damage, the accessibility of the mods, because you can just pull all the mods from a combat rifle directly to your fixer. Now there's usually one that just kind of spawns out of thin air over there, which is great. We'll get his attention. Already hitting him for a respectable amount of damage. Can probably do this with 12 bullets left. Not quite. Probably could have gotten away with a reload there, but before he screams at me, I'll go ahead and do that. And I'm hearing grenade launchers go off, which is a little bit disconcerting. Let's just go ahead and just shoot these gun zombies away. Make sure if I go and hit up that other Scorch Beast spawning place that they aren't going to poke me. Well, that's 2 grenade launchers I'm counting. You can die, mate. Who else is around? I see one over there. There we go. Jesus Christ, they're just spawning from everywhere at this point. And we're hitting for over 1k with the sneak damage, which is nice. Obviously that massive multiplier that I've got myself tuned with is doing well. There's a couple more over there. There you go, nice little headshot on you. Only need a body shot to finish him though. Now, question is, can I get this bat out? I'm going to get super irradiated by standing here, so can't be standing here for long. Nope, I can't. But with the pace that I killed the other ones, I mean, it's kind of on par for a stealth commando, but I reckon it's a little bit more impressive. There's a lot more risk and reward, benefits when you're using a Berserker's thing than a Bloodied, because you've still got all of the, buffs from your armor, especially unyielding if you are using a Bloodied build. So you got that behind you, but if you're running this thing at Nerd Rage, you've got nothing. You've got no safety net. You've got no massive stat boosts. Why is this roof glowing? That's weird. You've got none of these safety nets that unyielding armor would offer you, like the enhanced agility, perception, strength, all of that stuff. You've got nothing, so it's a very high risk and low reward way to play this thing, because you've got less damage. You don't have the aforementioned armor buff, so there's really not a lot of reason to use these Berserker weapons. And yeah, that's kind of my spiel on it. I don't think there's too much else for me to say, so thank you for watching, guys.